Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to episode 3 of our informative series, the Boutique Host Agency 101 A Peek Inside. This is the last episode, and our intent is to give you a better understanding what the impact on your business is when switching host agencies. Our focus is on the impact joining a boutique host agency like Travel Resources Group, as I know a lot of you are scared to switch and you might feel stuck. My name is Ilja Chapman, and I am born and raised in the Netherlands, and I live currently in sunny Key Largo, Florida. I am the founder of Voyage Blue Travel, which is a successful agency I started 11 years ago, and I am the managing partner of Travel Resources Group since 2020. I transitioned with my business from being a franchise to my own brand, and today's information is based on my personal experience. Welcome. It's my pleasure to take you behind the scenes of our boutique host agency. Before I continue today, do I want to read out a disclosure to make sure we are all on the same page. This webinar is presented by us, Travel Resources Group, for informational purposes only, and our intent is to educate and inform. This webinar is not intended to provide legal or financial advice. We aim to offer insight into our boutique host agency model and the support that we provide to independent travel advisors. We share our perspective and experience to help travel advisors make informed decisions. While we may offer general comparisons to other host agency models, is it not our intent to discredit or harm others in the industry. With all that information that we share, do we encourage all the attendees to do their own research and choose the path that best aligns with their values and goals. Well, having that out of the way, do I like to start by asking you a question? Have you ever wondered what it's actually like to transition from one to another host agency? And have you wondered how a boutique host agency can help make that move easier? Well, this is today your chance to find out. And whether you're exploring new options or you're just feeling stuck where you are, this session today gives you real answers, real talk, and behind the scenes look at how independent advisors successfully can transition to a host agency that may fit their planning business and niche. Today we're looking in more depth what it really looks like to move your business to a boutique host agency, and especially for those travel advisors that already launched their business with a host agency. Many independent travel advisors that I've spoken to are extremely happy with their current host agency situation. They are getting the support and coaching they need. They like the tools and resources they have access to, and they feel at home in their community. They are content with the preferred vendors, the commission levels, and the commission splits, and that is all good news. You decide how you want your business to look like, and you know best under what circumstances you and your business thrive. It doesn't hurt, though, to revisit your current situation annually. Things may change. Look at your business strategy. What business model continues to serve you best? Identify how you best receive support and give it some serious thought as to what kind of community you want surrounding your business. If your current host agency serves you in helping you grow and thrive within their community and with the tools and resources that they offer, then commit. Do not disrupt your business unnecessarily. Transitioning between host agencies is a big step, and you should do in depth research to understand what you and your business need to grow and thrive moving forward. No need to make any changes for the sake of changing. It's a big step and it's a lot of work. Now, I also speak to independent travel advisors who feel stuck with their business in their current hosted situation. They feel that they don't fit in the box of their current community. If you recognize yourself in this, do I encourage you to ask yourself these questions shown on the slide? When you are revisiting your current situation, ask if your business model is understood. Do you feel supported? Is this community the right fit for you? Are you being heard, understood? Are the tools and resources serving you? Even ask the question if you're earning what you're set to earn annually. The answers to those questions might help you understand what to look for in a new agency. I asked myself these questions a few years being into my business, and I realized I did not fit the box. In episode 1 of this series, I shared some of my personal business story, and in this episode, I share my story and experience what it looked like when I transitioned to a new host agency. For today's purpose, I won't share my entire story, but it's important to know that I launched my business back in 2014 by purchasing a franchise versus joining a host agency. It was a turnkey solution, and still today, they're very reputable and going strong. And although the franchise had an extensive coaching, education, and support system, I didn't feel supported. And to be honest, it wasn't something they did wrong. I just didn't identify with their community. And even though I showed up in many ways, I did not feel heard or understood. They did have an amazing technology tools, but sometimes I just needed to use vendors and resources that was out of the box. And the franchise couldn't accommodate that. My vision for my business did not align with theirs. Again, I simply did not fit the box and I decided to move my business. I moved my business to Travel Resources Group. Here we are. And I have to be honest, it was not without fear and stress. Nobody guided me or helped me navigate all the changes that I had to make to the many aspects of my business. It certainly was the most stressful period in my business career, no kidding, as it was the first time I had to deal with a lawyer, which I believe could have been avoided if I would have had proper support. Based on my story, I will explain the impact on a travel planning business when transitioning from one to another host. There is no need to get involved with a lawyer like I did. I will speak from my experiences and I will share what to expect and how to prepare. You will get an understanding how we at Travel Resources Group offer personalized support during the transition. Although I cannot give any legal advice, will I highlight what to look for in regards to the terms and conditions. My wish for any independent travel advisor wanting to transition is it to be a smooth process, stress free. That is one of the reasons I share my story and why I give a peek inside our boutique host agency. Transparency is the key. For today's session, we assume that you have done already extensive research into what different host agencies offer, and we assume that you have made the decision to switch from one to another host agency. Maybe a boutique host agency like ours is a good fit. Remember, not all hosts are created equal, and each host travel agency is 100% unique. If you have not done so yet, I highly recommend that you watch episode 1 and 2 of our Boutique Host Agency 101 series to get the complete peek insight and help you understand if a boutique host agency is a good fit or not. When thinking about moving to a different host agency, any host agency, it's important to understand that many business aspects of the foundation of your business will change when transitioning. In preparation of my transitioning, did I create a list of all the aspects of my business that I expected would change? A lot was going to change. You can see it here on the slides. I realized that my support and coaching program would change. Any certification that I obtained with the franchise were worthless. Same for the workshop that I completed with them. A big one for me was that the branding was going to change. I knew I would lose the franchise name and I had to create my own branding. It was very important that I understood the legal changes, the change of the IATA, the seller of travel, the consortia, the E&O insurance, and the agreements that I had. It is important that you make a list as a lot of aspects are changing. Think also many financial changes will happen. Not only the commission split will change, but by my business name, for example, even changed. So I had to make changes to the bank account, credit cards, my doing business as registration, the county tax report, and there's probably a few I've forgotten here. Of course, the relationship with the vendors will change. Your business development manager relationship might change, preferred vendor, commission levels, the type of travel that you have access to. I knew I would lose access to the current group allotments, agency promotions, amenity programs, all that would change. And in my case, I even changed consortia. And you need to understand what they give you today that you won't have when your next host agency is affiliated with a different consortia. Wow, it all sounds overwhelming, right? Taking all of these aspects into consideration when switching to a new host agency, it is equally important to fully understand your current hosted situation. Let's look at that next. What I mean by understanding your current situation is to fully understand what your current obligations are with your host agency. What are the terms to terminate the agreement with them? I will discuss this in a little bit more depth in the next slides. But my advice is once again to create a list, like I showed earlier, of all the aspects of the foundation of your current business situation. Will there be an overlap period where you still are managing some bookings under their umbrella and new bookings under the new host agency's umbrella? How will you organize and manage that? Will you still have access to the tools and resources? Think about the reservation system, for example, that you're currently using, or other booking tools or softwares. Realize that your current education and coaching program will change. Most likely, you will lose most of your current community as well. Hopefully, you have signed an agreement with your current host agency. It is truly important that you fully understand the impact on your business when terminating the agreement. The terms and conditions will describe your ability to book with a different host agency whilst you're still under contract with them. It might even have a competitor clause. Do you fully understand what it says? You will need to know what your ability is to continue to service your bookings under their umbrella. What will happen to your current bookings? Will you still receive commissions once you left the agency? Who owns your book of clients? Did you receive any leads from the agency that they consider theirs? Understanding the terms concerning ownership of client data, your book of clients is crucial. Imagine if you're not allowed to take your clients with you as per your current agreement. You need to know your situation and be prepared to act accordingly when transitioning. Before writing your host agency the termination letter and before signing the agreement with the new host agency, do we suggest you take all the steps needed to transition successfully? Start with creating that list of all the business aspects that will be impacted by the transition. Create that second list to help you understand how the business aspect in the new hosted situations look like. Those are the lists we just talked about. Those are the list of all the impacted aspects in the previous slides. I urge you to document all your steps carefully. Document your research you did deciding on the ideal host agency. Document the answers to all your questions so you can compare them easily and will be remembered why you made this decision. Understand what you are leaving behind and what you are getting in return. Identify the possible implications for your business by switching. Once identified, You can be proactive and take the steps needed to avoid any implications. That's what I had to do. But in my case, I needed the assistance of a lawyer. You do what you have to do. Up till now, we covered the aspects impacting the foundation of your business. Here on this slide, I want to point out the aspects being impacted on your day to day business. Let's start with the branding on the top center of the blue diagram. You might not need to change your branding, but I did. It takes time to create a business name, logo, and to decide on business colors, etc. But don't get hung up on that. You still can start making bookings without a brand. Understand that at the back of the house, you are always using the name of your host agency. How the front of the house looks like can be created later. I will continue clockwise here, touching base on all the aspects that will be impacted. So the next one is the email address change. Do you have an email address linked to your current host? Do you need to make changes here? How about the vendor registration and the login? That is one of the biggest and most daunting projects. I've been through it, and we certainly know how to systematically update the registrations and the best way to change your logins. To get together, we will compare the names of your business development managers and we'll introduce you to the new ones. Think about changing systems, reservation system, booking portals, payments platforms. It all can be daunting. You just need to take the time to learn the new systems coming at you. Same for any new software you will have access to. Schedule time per week to educate and practice. Once you've moved to the new agency, you decide what and how you want to communicate to your existing client and followers. And keep in mind that during the transition, you might have to pay double monthly fees as you're now paying with your new and old agency. The new agency you join might charge a startup fee, and maybe you need to buy a URL, an email domain, register a new DBA or seller of travel license. You have to be prepared financially for the transition. When moving your business, it's crucial not to lose any history of your current business situation. Make sure that you have backup files, that you copied important files, exported data, etc. Make sure you have details about your clients, the history of bookings made, copies on email conversations, and so on. Safekeeping your current information is a big job in itself, but it is so important. I still look back every now and then to files that I created under the franchise. I'm so happy that I saved them. I mean, this is 5 years ago. When I prepared this presentation, I realized how overwhelming all this is. It's a lot of information. Transitioning your business has an impact on so many aspects of your business, it truly seems daunting. My intent, though, is not to scare you, but to guide you. My message to you is to prepare for change, or you will be blindsided. Yes, moving your business is a big step. It's a lot of work and it might feel scary and stressful. I did it, and with knowledge and the proper preparation, I trust that you can do it too. A quote from Mandy Hale where she says, "Change is painful, but nothing is as painful as staying stuck somewhere you don't belong." With the information received today, you already know what to look for when you're going to transition and how it might impact you and your business. Take it step by step. The first thing I did was to set a date to officially sign my termination letter and a date when to announce my new brand. I created a timeline working backwards from the date that I set to start selling under the new host agency. It's important to be organized. Create those checklists of all the action items and prioritize them. Start with the big items first and maybe even with the most daunting ones. Document every step you take. Ask for assistance. You're not the first one to make changes to a business, and you're not the first one to transition between host agencies. It would be amazing if you were one of the advisors who will experience a smooth transition because you anticipated the impact and you came prepared. At Travel Resources Group, we have assisted several independent travel advisors transition to our boutique host agency. Like I mentioned, it's a lot of work, but having somebody support you in every step of the way makes a huge difference. Transferring your client data into our database actually might be considered the easiest step. And changing your registration with the vendors to the new agency is probably the most time consuming step. We support you with everything in between. Together, we look at your current situation, and based on that, we set the official transition date and create a timeline. You will be building your own action checklist, and you can use us as a soundboard. We will help you decide where to start and what tasks to prioritize. When setting you up with our agency, we want to make sure that you understand your agreement with us and identify how in depth the onboarding period will be. Keep in mind that you will need to learn the systems being used at Travel Resources Group, and we do ask that all independent travel advisors to work through the 90-day roadmap, which includes the onboarding and bootcamp modules. Again, moving your business is a big step. It's a lot of work and it might feel scary and stressful, but you got this, and we got you. With all the aspects to consider to transition, I would like to think that what matters most is community. This can be your community, this can be your tribe, and we will welcome you with open arms. So, before I wrap up today, I want to remind you that you can watch the videos of the previous episodes about the services that we offer at our boutique host agency. It will give you the answers about our support and coaching programs and how it looks like to be under contract with Travel Resources Group. Let me check if there's any questions that came in. All right. Yeah, I see a question here. There's two questions. Um, can I make bookings with one vendor under two different host agencies? Well, that is a good question. And the answer is yes, but you do need to register with the vendor twice. And that's where the complication comes a little bit. It's not complicated, but we need to think about it carefully. And we certainly can talk you through that process. And another question I see is how soon can I start selling under your umbrella? Well, I would say as soon as all the paperwork is completed and you are set, you're set up in our system and you completed the onboarding sessions, you're ready to sell as far as we're concerned. Keeping in mind, of course, that you're cleared from your current host. But yeah, let's talk. You can reach me or my team to set up an acquaintance call to start a conversation via email or via the contact form on our trghostagency.com website. I'd love to hear from you and answer any questions and learn about your story. Let's explore together how you and your business could benefit from being part of our community. Thank you so much for being here today. You took the time to explore the best option for your business, and I applaud you for showing up. Please feel free to share a copy of the recording with fellow travel advisors who you might think might benefit from transitioning between host agencies. And remember, if I can do it, you can do it.